Hey folks, just gonna follow up with my Sansa and Jon relationship dynamics video. Now, there's this big question we all have at this point in time, with the fact that Jon's been crowned King of the North, he's gotten all this credit given to him, which in many ways he does deserve. But Sansa obviously deserves a lot of credit herself. I mean, she's the one who, um, as much as Peter has manipulated her, or maybe thinks that he's still being able to manipulate her, she played him pretty good and got the Knights of the Vale to swoop in at the end and save the Stark cause. And I think in some sense she kind of, I mean, she's playing the Game of Thrones, And I think she kind of, I mean, she expected Jon to rush in, and the irony is it actually played really well for the Stark, strategy because um, it got Ramsay Bolton to commit his forces. He lost all his cavalry, and the fact is he was just having arrows lobbed, one round after the next into his own men as well as into the Stark forces. He wiped out his cavalry, um, and a significant portion of his uh, infantry was wiped out or lost. And then of course there was the sort of phalanx formation, which I think was the majority of his infantry, but the heavy infantry that was committed. And so from his perspective, for that time, it seemed like he'd pulled that pincer movement and encircled the Stark forces, and the irony is that it left, or the interesting thing, or the good thing, for Stark cause is it left the Bolton flanks exposed, which then Sansa could attack them using the Knights of the Vale, swooping in and wiping them out. So I mean, she deserves a lot of credit. She's not getting that, which I mean, it's definitely gonna serve as, I mean, it's a thorn in the side of the Stark cause because it's gonna, I believe, blossom into further conflict between Sansa and Jon. But at the same time, I think that Sansa's character, she's become far more layered and complicated, and the fact that she owned up to not telling Jon the truth, and then the fact that she, you know, at least externally, she gave her support to Jon. I mean, you saw her smile, you saw her like gesture and that sort of thing. Yeah, she did kind of like lose it a bit when Lyanna Mormont got up and was like, Jon's my king from this day until his last day. I don't care if he's a bastard, that sort of thing. But all the other lords getting up and shouting the king of the north, the king of the north. Yeah, she lost it a bit, but at the same time, I think that I mean, we could see it illustrated when she looked over. She had a smile on her face, bit that the Starks are rising again. She sees Peter Baelish, and obviously he's not happy. He was expecting the old ways to work, that Jon being a bastard would, no matter how much he did, he would not be accepted, would not be given any real power or influence, and that he would just be, an extension of Sansa or a tool of Sansa, and that, kind of like, her arm or her hand, he could just, chop that off and make her his, cripple her in a metaphorical sense and make her his once again, and then he could go on to his greater schemes. Well, obviously he's not happy. She saw that, and I think she's recognized that fact. I mean, the fact that she said only a fool would trust Peter Baelish, which does not reflect well upon Catelyn and Ned, obviously, because they trusted him. Um, but I mean, I'm hoping that either A, she finds out what he did to Ned and really realizes that, hey, this whole chain of events that led to her being handed over to the Lannisters, handed over to the Boltons, raped and brutalized and all that sort of stuff started with that guy, Peter Baelish. If she does not figure that out, I think that Peter is gonna try to make some attack on Jon, and given that there's this sort of like parallel between Jon's rise and Robb, being made king in the North, I'm almost thinking that Lord Kerwin might turn into a whole Theon character. I'm really not, I mean, I don't know who would be the Ramsay to go and torture him and all that sort of thing, but I'm, uh, I'm wondering if it's going to be him. I'm thinking it's going to be him because it's like the whole parallel and that sort of thing, and maybe through Lord Kerwin or one of the other Northern Lords, or maybe through the Knights of the Vale. Um, though Lord Royce, I think it's Robar Royce, who was, I think, Raymar Royce's father, or is Saint Raymar, rather, excuse me, Waymar Royce being the commander of that ranging, in the first episode of the whole series. Um, the arrogant one who gets him and his men killed. he definitely has an issue with Peter. I mean, it's been illustrated earlier that him and Peter are at odds. The only reason that Peter was able to gain the upper hand is because he has Sweet Robin under his control, under his thumb. But there's definite tensions there. But I think it's going to be like an indirect sort of attack on Jon. And if Sansa can predict that and see that coming, then perhaps she can trace it back to Peter. I mean, she's already got her eye on him. She's just having to try to figure out what he's up to. But I'm hoping she puts a dagger through his heart or has him beheaded or so. Even if it does mean them ending up at war with the Vale, because that's kind of what I think it's going to come down to. It's either going to be them trying to maintain their alliance with the Vale, and thereby that allows Peter to have some sort of basis to go off of. And of course, and Peter was expecting the Northerners to distrust Jon and not respect him because he brought the wildlings, and even though they made up the majority of his forces and they did all this great sacrificing and fighting for the cause and all that, but that backfired. So I'm thinking he's going to fall back in the whole North and Vale alliance and essentially be like, hey, you kill me, you lose this alliance, and you have another faction at war with you. And these guys, not only are they already in the North, but they being that they are from the Vale up in the mountains and such, they know how to fight in the North. They're not like the Lancers and the Tyrells and so on, who can only really fight in warmer climates. So I do not see her betraying Jon. I just see a worst case scenario. She's probably gonna miscalculate Peter or make her move a little too late, and maybe Jon will die. But the fact is, also people also talking about Melisandre being kicked out. Well, Thoros and Myr being with the Brotherhood without banners, and the fact that they are also followers of the Lord of Light, they believe in this whole conflict between the Great Other and R'hllor, or the Lord of Light. They are moving north now, so perhaps they might link up with the Starks, given that Jon is also committed to fighting that war. And if that's the case, then perhaps Thoros and Myr, not only does he have a better track record, I mean he's brought Lord Beric Dondarrion back how many times? 6 or 7 times. He could potentially replace Melisandre, and yeah, I think that's probably the way they could go about things, so that Jon also has that backup of being brought back to life in case Peter does try to kill him. But yeah, I don't think Sansa's gonna actually betray him. There is steamy tension there. There's gonna be problems there, but at the same time, I don't think, but I'm hoping with her current character development, the way it's going, the direction it's been taking, that while she will have issues with him, there's jealousy and there's whole why haven't I even recognized I did all these things. I've been through so much, I deserve a little bit, a little bit of payback in the positive sense. I just really don't see her stabbing him in the back. She might miscalculate and he might get killed as a result, but I don't see her stabbing him in the back. But anyways, that's what I got for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.